At 80 years old, Tom Selleck has lived a life filled with fame, respect, and enduring popularity. Yet recently, he made a revelation that stunned fans worldwide. He confessed that he could not stand James Garner more than anyone else in Hollywood. The statement carried a weight that could not be ignored. After all, Garner was a legend in his own right, celebrated for his charm and warmth. So how did two beloved actors, seemingly cut from the same cloth, find themselves bound by bitterness? To understand this, we must first step back and explore the life of Thomas William Selleck, the man behind the mustache, long before the world knew him as Magnum, P.I. Thomas William Selleck was born on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan. His parents, Martha Jagger, a devoted homemaker, and Robert Dean Selleck, a real estate investor and executive, were hard-working people of modest means. The family's heritage was a mixture of English roots on his father's side and a warm blend of English and Scottish ancestry on his mother's. In 1948, when Tom was just a boy, the family relocated to Sherman Oaks, California, a move that would prove pivotal in shaping his future. Growing up in the San Fernando Valley, young Tom was surrounded by suburban optimism in post-war America. Life was not lavish, but the Sellecks instilled in their children the values of discipline, humility, and ambition. Tom had 3 siblings, Robert, Martha, and Daniel, with whom he shared a close, competitive bond. Sports quickly became his outlet. Athletic, tall, and determined, he excelled in basketball and baseball, finding early success on the playing field. In school, Tom's natural charisma made him popular, yet he remained grounded. His parents emphasized education and responsibility. He graduated from Grant High School in 1962 and earned a basketball scholarship to University of Southern California. While majoring in business administration, he also played on the USC Trojans basketball team. His towering frame, 6'4", gave him an edge, though he would later admit he never saw himself as destined for professional sports. During his college years, Tom dabbled in modeling to support himself. He even appeared in small commercials. A pivotal moment arrived when a drama coach encouraged him to consider acting. At first, Selleck laughed off a suggestion, but soon the idea began to take root. He joined the Beverly Hills Playhouse under the guidance of Milton Katsilas, where he began honing his craft. The Vietnam War was also an important turning point. Selleck received draft orders, but ultimately joined the California National Guard's 160th Infantry Regiment, serving from 1967 to 1973. This experience deepened his sense of discipline and patriotism, qualities that would shape both his career and his personal identity. By the late 1960s, Tom Selleck's path was clear. He had traded business textbooks for scripts, basketball courts for sound stages, and had embraced the uncertain journey of an aspiring actor. It was a choice that would catapult him to international fame, but not without years of struggle, rejection, and resilience. And somewhere along this road, in the dazzling yet cutthroat world of Hollywood, the seeds of his complex relationship with James Garner were quietly planted. Breaking into Hollywood was never easy, and for Tom Selleck, the early years were riddled with rejection. His good looks and towering height, rather than being assets, often typecast him as little more than a generic, handsome man. He struggled to the late 1960s and early 1970s, taking on minor roles in TV series like The Dating Game, where he appeared not once but twice as a contestant, and small parts in shows such as The Rockford Files, Marcus Welby, M.D., and The Young and the Restless. During this period, Selleck also worked tirelessly in commercials, endorsing everything from Pepsi to deodorant. Yet, he remained determined. He trained, studied, and prepared, knowing that patience was a necessary weapon in an industry driven by chance. Then came his breakthrough in 1980, when he landed the role of Thomas Magnum in the television series Magnum, P.I. The Hawaiian detective with a Ferrari, a sharp wit, and a famous mustache became a cultural icon almost overnight. The show ran for 8 seasons and earned Selleck an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series in 1984. More than fame, Magnum P.I. gave Selleck a distinct identity, setting him apart from the sea of Hollywood leading men. The success of Magnum, P.I. opened doors to the big screen. He starred in films like Three Men and a Baby, 1987, alongside Ted Danson and Steve Guttenberg, which became the highest-grossing film of that year. He followed with roles in Quigley Down Under, 1990, An Innocent Man, 1989, and romantic comedies like Her Alibi, 1989. While some films fared better than others, Selleck proved he was more than a TV star. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, he transitioned seamlessly between television and film. Appearances on Friends as Dr. Richard Burke, Monica's charming older boyfriend, earned him a new generation of fans. Later, his role as Police Commissioner Frank Reagan in Blue Bloods, 2010-present, cemented his reputation as a stalwart figure on television. Yet, alongside success came challenges. Early in his career, Selleck famously turned down the role of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark because of his commitment to Magnum, P.I. Though it was a missed opportunity, he handled it with grace, later saying that the role was meant for Harrison Ford. Another challenge was typecasting. Selleck's rugged looks and magnetic charm sometimes boxed him into roles that failed to showcase his range. Still, his persistence and professionalism kept him in the game while others faded. It was during these years that he crossed paths repeatedly with James Garner. Both actors embodied a similar archetype, the charming, rugged, all-American leading man. And while Hollywood often compared them, off-screen tensions began to mount. Their careers overlapped in intriguing ways, with Garner's iconic work on Maverick and the Rockford Files often held up as a mirror to Selleck's Magnum, P.I. In a town where comparisons could make or break reputations, this silent rivalry would only grow stronger with time. Beyond the cameras, Tom Selleck led a personal life filled with both triumphs and challenges. His relationships, much like his career, became the subject of public curiosity. His first marriage was to model Jacqueline Ray in 1971. At the time, Selleck was still carving his path in Hollywood, and Jacqueline, a striking beauty, was a source of companionship and support. Together, they faced the ups and downs of his early career. During their marriage, Tom adopted Jacqueline's son, Kevin Shepard, who would later pursue a career as a drummer in the rock band Tonic. However, the pressures of Hollywood life and Selleck's growing fame took a toll. By 1982, after 11 years of marriage, the couple divorced, citing irreconcilable differences. Selleck was deeply affected by the split. In interviews, he admitted that his dedication to Magnum, P.I. strained the marriage. The long hours and demanding schedule left little time for family. Still, his bond with Kevin remained intact, a testament to his sense of responsibility as a father. In 1987, Tom married actress Gilly Mack, a British performer he met after seeing her in a London production of Cats. Their love story was charmingly simple. Selleck, captivated by her stage presence, arranged an introduction, and the two soon fell in love. The wedding was kept private, with only close friends and family in attendance. Together, they welcomed a daughter, Hannah Margaret Selleck, born in 1988. Hannah pursued a very different path from her famous father. Instead of Hollywood, she dedicated herself to equestrian sports, becoming a professional show jumper. Tom often expressed pride in her achievements, emphasizing that his greatest role in life was that of father. Throughout his marriage to Gilly, Selleck deliberately slowed down his career at times to prioritize family. He purchased a 65-acre ranch in Ventura County, California, where he could retreat from the glare of Hollywood and focus on raising Hannah. This decision reflected his lifelong struggle to balance fame with privacy. Aside from marriages, Selleck's romantic history included rumored relationships with co-stars and models, though he kept such matters private. Unlike many Hollywood figures, he steered clear of scandal. His reputation as a family man became as central to his image as his mustache and deep voice. Yet, in the broader realm of relationships, one name loomed large: James Garner. Theirs was not a romance, but a rivalry. While Selleck cherished friendships with actors like Larry Manetti and Donnie Wahlberg, his interactions with Garner were marked by tension. To outsiders, they appeared cordial, even friendly, when crossing paths at events. But beneath the surface, there was friction that would later explode into a confession decades in the making. In the private world of Tom Selleck's relationships, filled with love, heartbreak, fatherhood, and devotion, one unresolved animosity remained. It was not with a former spouse, nor a Hollywood rival for a role. It was with James Garner, a man who, for reasons Tom would only reveal much later, stood as an embodiment of his deepest professional resentment. Now, for the first time, Tom Selleck openly admitted what fans had long speculated but never confirmed. He truly hated him more than anyone else in Hollywood. At 80 years old, Selleck broke decades of silence, framing his words not as a tabloid headline, but as a heartfelt confession. The roots of this animosity stretch back to the 1970s. When Selleck was still hustling for guest roles, Garner was already a star, beloved for his turn as Brett Maverick in Maverick, and as private investigator Jim Rockford in The Rockford Files. Selleck appeared in several episodes of The Rockford Files, where he played Lance White, a handsome but bumbling private detective. Fans adored the dynamic between White and Rockford, but behind the scenes, Selleck felt patronized. According to Selleck, Garner treated him with polite professionalism but little warmth. "I always felt like the kid in the room," Selleck later reflected. "He was a veteran, and I was the rookie who couldn't quite measure up." That sense of inferiority festered over time. When Magnum, P.I. premiered in 1980, critics instantly drew comparisons between Magnum and Rockford. Both were charming, unorthodox detectives, solving cases with wit rather than brute force. While Selleck appreciated the success, he resented being seen as a younger version of Garner. "It was as if everything I did was somehow a reflection of him," Selleck recalled. "I wanted to stand on my own, but the shadow was always there. The rivalry was never open warfare. In public, the two men exchanged compliments and posed for photographs." But Selleck confessed that beneath the surface, he carried resentment. Garner's effortless charm, his established reputation, and the way fans adored him gnawed at Selleck's pride. What shocked fans most was Selleck's admission that the hatred endured even after Garner's death in 2014. "I respected him, but I never liked him," Selleck admitted bluntly. "Respect and hate can live side by side. He represented everything I struggled against: comparison, doubt, and being underestimated." This was not a petty feud over roles or fame. It was deeper, a lifelong sense of rivalry that Selleck never escaped. In interviews, he described how directors and producers would say, "You're the next James Garner," a phrase that felt like both praise and a curse. Instead of validation, it reminded him that his identity was tethered to someone else's legacy. By revealing this truth at 80, Selleck released decades of bottled emotion. The confession was raw, surprising, and deeply human. Fans were reminded that even icons carry burdens of comparison and rivalry. Behind the mustache, the charm, and the enduring smile, Tom Selleck had wrestled with a shadow named James Garner, and finally admitted to find more his journey than anyone realized. As the years passed, Tom Selleck gracefully transitioned into the role of elder statesman in Hollywood. By the 2010s, his portrayal of Frank Reagan in Blue Bloods showcased his maturity, gravitas, and unwavering screen presence. The series became a cornerstone of his later career, running for over a decade and solidifying his status as one of television's most enduring stars. Away from the spotlight, Selleck embraced life on his ranch. He tended avocado groves, rode horses, and lived quietly with his wife, Jillie Mack. He valued privacy above all, often saying that fame was fleeting, but family and land were grounding. In interviews, he admitted he deliberately avoided the frenzy of Hollywood parties, preferring the quiet satisfaction of ranch work. Though age slowed him, Selleck never stopped working. He appeared in TV movies, lent his voice to documentaries, and made guest appearances that delighted fans. His rugged charm, once the mark of a heartthrob, evolved into the wisdom of a veteran, When asked about retirement, he often laughed, saying he would act as long as people would have me. His humility remained intact, even as accolades poured in. From Golden Globes to Emmy nominations, Selleck's name became synonymous with professionalism and longevity. On the personal front, he continued to support his daughter Hannah's equestrian career. Watching her ride gave him pride, a sense that his legacy extended beyond Hollywood. He once said, "My greatest success is a show or a movie. It's seeing my daughter do what she loves." Yet, even in his twilight years, the subject of James Garner occasionally surfaced. When pressed, Selleck no longer softened his words. He framed his confession as liberation rather than bitterness. "I carried it for too long," he explained. "It wasn't about tearing him down. It was about finally admitting what I felt." Fans debated whether his honesty tarnished his image or humanized him further. Most agreed it revealed the complexity of a man who had spent decades in the public eye, but rarely revealed his inner battles. As of his 80th year, Tom Selleck remains alive, though quieter than in his heyday. His health, while occasionally the subject of speculation, has not diminished his stature. He is regarded as one of television's greats, a man whose career bridged generations. His legacy is not just a Ferrari on Magnum, P.I., the steady hand of Blue Bloods, or the laughter of Three Men and a Baby. It is the image of an actor who embodied strength and charm, while privately wrestling with shadows of comparison. His confession about James Garner was not the story of petty Hollywood jealousy, but a man finally unburdening himself of a rivalry that shaped his path. In the end, Tom Selleck's life reminds us that even icons are human. Their triumphs come with struggles, their smiles with unseen tensions. And when the curtain falls, what remains is a story of a man who sought authenticity, even in his final revelations.